In this video, what we're going to look at is the pattern feature. Now, the pattern feature has come a long way inside of Illustrator, and I had a much lengthier video on patterns and how to do it. They have reworked the engine behind this, so let's show you how to do it. Let's dig in. So I just have this line. Let's say I just wanted to create a line pattern so I could use. So the difference between doing this and like just, I could create a pattern with this and do it this way and create a pattern that way. However, what this is going to do is it's actually going to put it in your swatches as a pattern to be used. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, just select this and I'm going to go to pattern. Now, if you don't have it already as your option, you're going to go here and go to pattern options. Now, it's a little strange. I wish there was a little button here that you could press because it's very kind of misleading for here. But go ahead and select this and do make pattern. It's going to say new pattern has added to the swatch panels panel. Just say OK. From here, when you first look at it, if it's a line, you're going to like, wait, what is this? Why is this so close together? What am I looking at? So it's just the width is so close to each other. So I'm just going to go in here and click, and I'm going to hit up, and you can see there are my different lines. Now, in this case, if you wanted the lines to be separate like that, you could do that as a pattern. But in my case, I want them as straight lines, which is here, and it's perfect. I'm just going to make this a larger pattern, so I'm going to do 9 by 9. It just gives me more lines going left to right. Once I'm here, I'm done with that. In fact, let's just make this smaller. I can't do that from here. So I'm going to go ahead and do OK. So I'm just going to go ahead and do done. Now, all that stuff went away. And what I'm now left with is if I go down into my palettes, you can say it says new pattern. So let's do medium thumbnail so you can see. All right. So there is my new pattern added just there. So what's really great about this, let's move this off to the side, is let's just do a circle. Let's fill it with black, and then I'm going to choose this pattern I just created. And there it is. Really easy to do. Let's say you wanted to manipulate this further, and you wanted to angle this and rotate this. You didn't want straight lines. You want them diagonal. You wanted them bigger. You wanted them smaller. Illustrator's got you covered with that. But you have to know where this is. So I'm going to rotate this, hit R, right, for rotate, and enter, or you could double click on it. And I'm going to check, instead of transform object, I'm just going to say transform pattern. And I'm going to put this at 45 degrees. And now I have a 45-degree pattern. And I'm still thinking, it's still a little heavy for me. I'm going to want to scale this. So again, hit S or scale and double click, hit enter. And I'm going to say do this at 50%. Again, only the pattern, not the object. And now I have that scaled for that. So that's the way that I would use patterns in here. That was really easy to create, right? Creating that pattern. Now, if you do find you've created that pattern and you wanted to make some adjustments, double click on it. It'll bring you back into it. I should be able to select on that, change this, and I'm just going to do, in this case, maybe you want another copy. I'm going to do save a copy. New pattern, let's call this lines 2. And so now I have that pattern as well. I'm just going to do done. Oh, it overrid it. Okay. So I overrode that one that's there, and I could change and manipulate that if I wanted to as well. Okay, so let's just look. Here is now this circle that's here. Let's just get it. It should be black. And I'm going to go do the same thing. Let's go to pattern. I'm going to do make pattern. Okay. This is pretty good. I like this, but let's look at another grid pattern that we could play with. If I did hex by column, and we just move this out a little bit, you can see I'm getting this nice kind of hex shape that's there. You can see it's using a hexagon as its spacing. You can play with what this is. Brick by column, brick by row just gives you kind of offset. You can decide what kind of offset this is. We'll change how that is appearance. Now, all this is personal preference for what you want to do. Right now, I'm going to do hex by column. It gives me this, which I like. I'm now going to do a 9 by 9 just to make it bigger, and I'm going to say done. So you can see now in my swatches, I now have that. So let's just take this. I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to fill with my circle pattern, and there it is. right? Other things that you can do in the same way. I made a honeycomb pattern using the same idea. So that is taking, let's just take my polygon, make 6 sides. Right, we're just going to fill with black here. And actually, let's make an outline here of this. And we're going to go to pattern. And it's all the same kind of process, right? We're going to make pattern. Okay. Instead of the regular grid. So you can see this is grid. This is grid by row. And you can see I could change how that row is doing. I want hexagon by column. And I'm just going to space that out. Space that out, and I'm going to do 9 by 9. It's bigger, why not? Do that, and then do done. And now what I have is, let's just take this hexagon, let's fill it with a hexagon pattern, and there we go. All right. So you can do that with all sorts of things, right? With these dots, you can do the same thing. Here are these dots. Let's go to pattern one more time, make pattern. Okay, and you can see that's just taking the pattern. And if that's what you want, that's what you want. If I want maybe brick by row, do I like that? You know, you can kind of play around with that. You can play around with maybe some of the spacing. But you can see, you know, if I do this, maybe it just, you know, it's not exactly what I want. I want it a little bit tighter. Let's play around with this a little bit. Let's take a look at brick by column. Right? You could do some overlap with that, right? So maybe you're getting something there, but no, that's not what I want. All right, well, okay, this is getting to more of what I'm looking for in a pattern that's here. And again, this is all personal preference. Let's make this a little bit tighter that's here. And I'm going to do done. So now what I have, let's move this off to the side here. Let's get a box. And let's fill it with our new pattern we just made. And there we go. So it allows me to do all sorts of things with this, right? I can now take that shape, I can manipulate it, and my pattern is now just filling inside. And again, if I wanted to scale that, let's not do the object, let's scale the pattern. There we go. If I wanted to do all sorts of other things to it, I now could with that. So patterns are a great way to do that. They completely change the engine on how to do this. It's a great thing to add to any project that you have.